What's going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. Today is November 12th, 2020. We're going to be talking about the price action, the headline indices, the VIX. We're going to go below the hood and check out some of the sectors and style factors that perform the best and also those that perform the worst. We're going to go through some of the trades that I took. We're going to hit options order flow. And last but not least, we're going to talk about some fundamental research that I'm looking to share with y'all soon. So let's jump right into it. Before we get started, please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make this for you. Let's jump right in. Oh, but first, our risk disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan. And please do not YOLO your whole account into any one of my trades because I'm wrong 100% of the time. Anyway, let's get started. So today was, one of those days that was essentially chop. Taking a look at the ES futures to begin. As we've talked about the past couple days, we had this very bullish sequence post-election. We hit our pivot high at 3,668. And since then, we have really been consolidating. So if you go online and you check out these market commentators, pretty much every day they have to have some sort of new commentary. And what I find is that when the market is chopping, that is when you have the market commentators absolutely losing their mind. And you have the Twitter traders as well that are absolutely losing their minds. So one thing that we talked about in yesterday's video was we are approaching options expiration week. We have options expiry next Friday. So typically what I see when we go through these expiration weeks is that there is not much really movement. It's just a lot of chop in the indices. So I would be careful as you're navigating these markets. You don't have to be putting on new trades every single day. And one of the things that you're going to see is like today, for instance, this is a pretty decent red candle, although we did, put in basically a hammer here. We closed above the 5-day exponential moving average. We are still above the monthly value area high. But as soon as we get a downtick in the markets, you are going to see a lot of people come out of the woodwork and they all want to start talking about how we're going to crash and how they called it first and how there's going to be this big move down. And not to say that that is not true, but you just want to make sure that unless you're a scalper, then you can be a bit more reactionary. But if you are like a swing trader or you're a long-term investor, especially next week and during this choppy period, you don't want to be running around with your hair on fire, every single day of chop and, coming up with a new thesis every day. As of right now, this is sort of what we want to see, where we had a big push up in the markets. And as you can see, every other time we pushed up to around this 3,600 level, the market had, a wild run up and then just immediately, fell lower. Same thing that we saw up here. We blasted up, had a really big bullish candle and immediately started falling over. This is actually a bit more constructive where we had that big push up, and now we're really just consolidating. So not that much to see there. If we do tomorrow start trading below that 5-day EMA and we break that value area high, that is where I'd be looking to potentially add some hedges. But as of right now, nothing really to say. There's no real sell signal here. Let's take a look at the Qs. And today was a red day in the markets. We had the SPY down 0.97%. We had the Qs down 0.47%, which were a big winner for today. We had IWM small caps down 1.4%, the big loser today. And we had the Dow Jones down 1.04% today. So if we take a look at the Qs, we had that push up beyond the value area high yesterday. More consolidation. So this is actually perfect that we closed directly on the value area high because, if we start fading lower tomorrow, I will be adding my hedges on the books. And, if we are trading higher, that's a good point, or maybe if you're underexposed, you can add some positions. But really, as of right now, while we're continuing to chop around, there is not much to do, especially if you're a trend trader. And let's see, we'll go to the IWM. Yeah, so the small caps again had this great run here and really are just consolidating. We pushed below the 5-day EMA, option a bit higher. So that's actually a good sign that we're putting in a bit of a hammer candle. But again, very similar story. We had that big run up on the COVID vaccine, but now I actually posted about this earlier. It was kind of funny. The other day it was like, oh, value's going to completely rip because there's a COVID vaccine. But now today it's like, oh, COVID's getting really bad and the vaccine's not going to be around for another 6 months. So this could end up being another failed value rotation. And I am definitely on the lookout for that. So just be careful. I'd been trimming my value stocks, as we really ripped higher. The only ones I really have left on the books now are my cruisers. So let's take a look. Dow is going to look very similar. Yeah, very similar look for the Dow. Checking back. Looks like it's checking back towards the value area high. And there's no sell signal in here at the moment. Excuse me. Next, we'll take a look at the volatility. Let's see. We'll check out the VIX and we'll look at the VVIX as well, because I believe those both ticked up today. So let's see. Okay, yeah, the VIX. Again, we're not doing some complex technical analysis on the VIX. We're really just looking to see directionally where is it heading and where is it trading in relation to its recent ranges. So you can see here, yeah, the VIX had a green day. It did not close on the highs, which is good. And we are really just consolidating towards the low end of the recent range. So not really that much information in here just yet. And we'll take a look at the VVIX. With a lot of this stuff on the markets just chopping, there's not really that much information that you're getting. And that's fine. You don't have to change your bias every day. You don't have to have like a massive green candle or, a massive crash every day. And if we take a look at the VVIX, yeah, there was a green candle. We are pushing higher. We are above the 5-day exponential moving average. So that is one thing that you want to be cognizant of. So for instance, I had alluded to this yesterday, when you have a nice declining VIX or a nice declining VVIX, that's typically when I want to be adding aggressively to positions. But then when you start to have this happen where it's kind of climbing up, that is where you want to be a bit more cautious and a bit more conservative. So that's how I've been, behaving in my trading. This is not where I want to go for broke. As I said earlier, we had a very nice bullish sequence. And for right now, it's more so about protecting the capital. And so let's go, we'll take a look under the hood here. So let's look at the sector winners today. So these again are ranked in terms of their momentum. And we have the regional banks still at the top, the European financials, and the cannabis space. And you can see that all of those that had the highest momentum are coming off quite a bit and had a very considerable pullback today. So this, if you're actually interested in picking up some value stocks, some value sectors, this is where you'd ideally, be doing it while we're having a pullback, not when they're blowing off and it's completely euphoric. So that is nice to see the KRE, the regional banks, coming off a bit. Let's take a look. Gold miners were actually green for today, and those have the worst momentum. So that's probably something I'll take a look at. I did place a flyer in one of the gold miners, HMY, that I shared with you guys the other day. So we'll take a look at that. The big winner, K-Web, the Chinese internet companies. Let's take a look at those. We had a bunch of those that put in really solid performances today. So let's see. We'll pull this up. I'm already drunk thanks to my husband. Let's say happy birthday. Sorry about that. All right. So let's jump into these Chinese internet stocks. So let's see. K-Web. Okay, so we did have some headlines coming out of the administration regarding China. I believe they're passing something to prevent people from investing in Chinese companies. A lot of times when we get these, hawkish China headlines, they actually are great opportunities to add to Chinese exposure. So you see we had that red candle. We're still above the 5-day EMA. The big winner today was Pinduoduo. And that one just reported earnings, and it had a great earnings report. Yeah, you can see they had a massive gap up. And I'd been in Pinduoduo. I got in at this green candle, and I believe I exited, right around here when it really blew off. But this is a great move. So you can see it had that, exhaustive move to the upside. We did form a red candle, so I certainly wouldn't be adding to a position in Pinduoduo at this point. We have JD, which was another winner in that space. Yeah, it looks like those headlines from the administration really took the wind out of the sails for these guys. And let's see Alibaba as well. Yeah, again, another red candle. Let's see if there were any other winners, and we'll take a look at the style factors as well. So that was the big story for today, those Chinese internet companies. And then again, in terms of these style factors, there was nothing that was green today, but the high beta stocks, which have the highest momentum, actually declined 2.82%. And we had momentum stocks only down 0.27%. So in terms of that growth versus value rotation, it does look like the value stocks are losing a bit of steam here. So let's take a look. Let's check out some of the trades that I placed for today. This one, and this is, a pretty unique trade. I don't really see many people on Twitter, trading butterflies, but I do like using them occasionally. AMD, I got into the November 20th, 80, 85, 90 call butterfly for $1.52. So let's take a look at that AMD chart, and I'll explain at a high level what I'm doing here. So basically with a call butterfly, these are typically, very high payout trades if you get the trade right, but they are very low probability trades. So with a call butterfly, you have a profit zone, and my profit zone is between $80 and $90. So specifically, because I'm paying $1.52 for this butterfly, my profit window is between $81.52 and $88.48. So if we take a look at AMD, I'm seeing it is trading within the value area. And it looks like we auctioned lower to about 77 the other day, but players did come in to auction it higher. So the way I see it, the value area low is at around $79. We'll call it $80. And I think that is a pretty good support level to trade against. So that's why, for my lower strike, I chose $80. But then on the other hand, we do have resistance here around $86. And I'm not expecting in the next week and a half for AMD to just shoot off to the races. So that's why I said, hey, we have this R1 pivot up here. I will do the 80, 85, 90 butterfly. And one of the good things about this is, when we are just chopping during OPEX and you see people losing their minds trying to take directional trades, it is always nice to have some theta exposure on the books, some short theta trades where you are making money as time passes instead of, being long gamma, like your long calls or puts. And if the market's chopping around, you're losing money every day. So this one, interesting trade. Again, like I said, it has a low probability of success, but it does have, a nice high payout. And we'll take a look at the other trade that I put on. This is the only other one that I did today. This company, Farfetched. This has been a very popular one. It has been a big mover. I timestamped another trade that I did in Farfetched. I bought it at around like $32, and I believe I sold it for around $42. This one just had a great earnings report, and I have the results for you right here. The Q3 2020 revenue increased 71% year over year. And this is the other thing. So this company, it has a lot of momentum. It's a very hot stock. A lot of people are talking about it. And then, comes up with great earnings. And then in addition, there's this other kicker. They announced a global partnership with Alibaba and Richemont to accelerate the digitization of luxury industry. Strategic partners to invest 1.15 billion in Farfetch Limited. So that's definitely one of the things where, okay, I saw this one exploding in the after hours, and you can take a look. So this one, if we check out the 5-minute chart, yeah, this one was really nice. I immediately saw someone post the results on Twitter. I'm familiar with this name. I've traded it before. And essentially, I saw this big green candle go up as soon as they reported results. And when I first started looking at it, it had mooned all the way up to around 47. I saw it start to pull back. And, I just took that opportunity and entered a position right here. So right now, it's up a couple dollars from where I entered. But we'll see what happens with that one. That one is one of those, I call them breaking news trades where you're really making a split decision. You get a new piece of information, and really your edge is just reacting to that information faster than, your average trader. So as you can see, I wasn't too active today, really just waiting and watching a lot of the price action. And like I said, for as we get closer to options expiration week, the less trading I do, typically the better. So we'll go through that. And let's check out some of the options order flow for today. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's see what we got. As always, we're going to filter for $1 million and up because, once again, it is the institutions that are really moving the market. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh. So we had an 87% put flow and only 13% call flow. That is, to be honest, that's pretty rare. Where a lot of times, even when we do have a pullback in the markets, I will see, a lot of call flow. So if you're bullish, this is kind of what you want to see. Whereas the market's declining, people are getting more defensive and they're buying more puts. So if we look, okay, I see, looks like some people were adding positions in NVIDIA. I see that one come up a lot. We have our usual SPY calls, SPY puts, a lot of people hedging. Let's take a look. Wow, people are hedging the Qs. Man, this one is a $5 million trade. That is chunky. Now let's see. This person, wow, they're like, these are super short dated. This is for November 30th, like 2 weeks away. And they threw down 7.1 million. So that is, they're expecting a quick move. And let's see, Zoom. This is the funny one. Zoom. So this one, I shared with you guys earlier, Zoom had been falling off a cliff. And these people, they were buying puts basically right into the bottom of Zoom. And sure enough, as Zoom starts to rebound, everybody is piling into the calls. Then look at this one. We have GPN. Let's see what GPN is doing. These look like they are... Oh yeah, these are kind of unusual. These are for June of 2021. Yeah, let's check these out. Of course, you got NEO because NEO never goes down. Let's see. Okay, global payments. This one looks pretty interesting actually. So you have, this stock that, has really been moving sideways for quite a while. So I like putting these boxes. That way you can just visualize the price action a little bit better. And you can see, by and large, we have been consolidating. And so I guess these guys, they're bullish, for the long term. We pulled back to the 5-day EMA and we put in a long lower wick. So this is one that I would actually be looking at. And it looks like this one exploded on the vaccine news and it is pulling back. So if you're looking for something where, I sort of missed that value trade and I would like to add some value stocks, this is one I'll add to my watch list for sure. And then, oh yeah, I do want to talk about this. I have I'm a long-term bull on DraftKings, and they are going to be reporting earnings tomorrow. And I posted these trades on Twitter, but I am short the 45 strike puts in DraftKings for November 20th. I believe I collected about $3.70 for one of the lots, and I believe $5 for the other lot. So for this, I do have positions on in DraftKings, and I would love if we just had a nice reaction to the report and we were able to get to that 45 strike. And for DraftKings, I really love the long-term story. I like the management team, and the management team usually does pretty well on the earnings calls. So that'll be, pretty interesting for tomorrow. They report, I believe, before the bell tomorrow. So we'll have to see, what happens. I know there's a lot of people in DraftKings that were buying, towards the top, which is a shame, but, there's a lot of people that are essentially bag holders in that name. And then last but not least, which company would you like me to write a research report on? So I shared this, right before the closing bell today. I wrote a research report on Apps, which is Digital Turbine. That is a stock. After writing that report, I really love this company. They essentially make money when people buy, new Android smartphones, and it's essentially as they're using their phones and using their apps. This is an interesting one. I wrote the report on this one, and I'm looking to write another report. So if you look at these companies, I selected, Farfetch, which is super hot that we already talked about. Plantronics. Plantronics is the sleeper of the group, but to be honest, I think there's actually, probably the most value in writing about that one and learning about that one. Because look, this one's had, a nice bullish sequence here, and now it just had a major pullback, and it pulled back to the 20-day moving average. So it's like with this one, it's not extended at all. And, if you're looking at a position, this is a nice level to trade against. So we have, Farfetch, we have Plantronics, we have Cresco Labs. I love the cannabis space, and I love doing research. So part of me is hoping that people select Cresco Labs. And then Aventor. This one is another one. I know nothing about the company fundamentally, but this one is very strong technically. And look at this one. This one is in such a bullish trend. So I really think, any of these four companies, it is worth taking a deep dive, all for different reasons. So, if you'd like to see me write a research report on one of those, feel free to vote on that one on Twitter. And if you'd like, retweet it as well so other people can see it. I'd really appreciate it. So that about does it for our market roundup. Thank you so much for spending some time with me in your evening, and thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.